What to do when you inherit money. So number one, you do not want to be a target to the IRS. So stay to the end of this video and I'm going to give you some very specific tips, because if you're like me, you're getting a surprise basket, not a planned inheritance. So I have a lot to say about this. So I'm going to talk about four things. Number one, the misconception that people are going to think this is going to cost a lot. I'm going to tell you techniques that it's not going to cost you anything if you do everything I say, which then goes to number two, what structures do you have to have in place for you and your family? And if you don't have a family, are you giving it to charity? How are you going to then pass on the wealth that you did accumulate while you walked this planet? And then number three, what's the number one tax strategy? And they are so significant. And then number four, who do you talk to about this? Who do you talk to about the entities? Who do you talk to about the trust, the insurance? How does this work? So get a pen and paper. This is a big one. Let's begin. So number one, the misconception is that this whole inheritance thing is going to cost a lot. Now, I have ranges of clients that are 94 years old, came with millions of dollars. Their kids will not get financially literate, so he's giving it all to charity or donating it, right? He's just going to give it to a whole bunch of people, and we're all raising our hands saying he should adopt us. So I have clients that are going to spend it while they're on the planet or give it all away. I also have clients that wanted to create generational wealth. Now, here's the statistic on generational wealth. It only lasts 2.3 generations. So that would mean that my kids' kids blow it. Right? So how you structure this is pivotal to what you want. So I think that's the first question is, what do you want? Number one, it's not going to cost you any money. So let's just dispel that myth right now. Right now, the current law, and it changes based on administrations about every 3 to 4 years, but currently, upon death, you can pass to each heir $11.2 million without tax, as long as you are structured the way I'm going to tell you in just a moment. So let's just put the cost of doing this aside. In fact, the other way is if you don't do it. Let's talk about that. If you don't do it, I don't care what state you're in. There's a few states that are worse, like California, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York. Horrible states to die in, because the state will take it into probate. And I've had clients take 7, 8, 9 years to untangle a very messy estate because it wasn't in corporate structure, it wasn't in trust properly, and they individually owned it, which means the state gets it. And they're going to tax that up to 50%. So to do nothing is where you're going to pay a lot of money. To do what I'm going to tell you, you're going to pay zero and pass it on properly. So for me, as a single mom, 1999, when I had my son, I'm like, I'm going to try this little experiment, see if these things work. So from employing him the first time he was born to all the way to 18, getting an LLC, and now starting generational wealth. He's 22. My daughter's 15. They're already starting to get transfers. Some of you out there say this is crazy. No, I want to train them during their lifetime. I didn't build this to pass it on, and then they have to figure out the maze. I call that the surprise basket, and that's how a lot of inheritance happen. That's how mine's going to happen to me. When my mom passes, we're going to get a surprise basket. I mean, I'm sure we're all going to sit around with some lawyer that's going to describe what my mom's wishes were. None of us have been told, maybe one brother, what we're going to get. Now, that is actually a very traditional way that people pass on, and it's also why 2.3 years, it goes away, because there's no commitment, there's no education. I have so many clients now that are really on board with this generational wealth that unless their kids either come to my big table or get mentored and coached in these principles, they don't get anything. Like, why would you hand a bunch of money to a bunch of spoiled kids that have no education on what to do with it besides buy, cars and TVs and things that are interesting? You can have all those things, but not without an asset base. So is it going to cost anything? Not the way I'm doing it. So number two, let's talk about it. How does it work? Well, when you're 18, you can have a legal corporation. You can have an LLC. I actually think all you parents should get an entity for their birthday. And yes, they may go off and get a job, but any extra money they make, you put it inside a business structure so they can activate the tax code of the United States. 81,000 pages of tax code. Come on, people. And the only reason you're overpaying taxes is because you don't know this stuff or you're not willing to learn any of this. Now, those companies then are held in trust. There's two kinds of trusts. There's revocable and irrevocable. So depending on how much you want to leave, depending on how much insurance you want to leave. See, I've had also clients completely have hardly any money, really healthy though. They got massive life insurance policies. I know one client right now, she maybe has $250,000-300,000 to pass on right now, plus her house. But she's super healthy, and she got a $10 million life insurance policy that she will pass to 2 trusts, $5 million to each kid. Set them up for generations if they do it right. So we're now working with them. So this is really up to you. What's fun about this is you really get to design how it moves on. not only from this lifetime, but to other lifetimes. Another way that you can do a trust, which is really a cool one, is called the Non-Depletion Trust, which means the family or the kids or other people, really becomes a family office, can take a loan out against the money in the trust, just like a bank, but they never get to use it. So it never depletes. In fact, it just continues to grow because the loans are usually 8 to 12% interest. So it's just a constant movement and growth of the trust money. So it's up to you. We love to help you. At the end of this video, I'm going to tell you how to talk to my experts that I use for entities, trust, and insurance. You're going to talk to all of them and get this set right. I mean, I don't even care if you have 100 grand. If you're in the state that I just mentioned, you're giving 50% of that to the government, to probate. Why would you even begin any of this if you don't do it right? And it doesn't cost that much to get this set up. It costs more to have it unplanned and unprepared. So other things to know about the corporate structure is from your LLC to your S Corp to your C Corp, how those are structured together and contract to get together will depend on how you pay tax. So let's talk about the tax code of the United States. And yes, those of you that are watching my YouTube channel from other parts of the world, in principle, all of this is the same. Here's the big difference. I'm married to a Canadian, right? So we have 81,000 pages of tax code in the United States. They have 3,400 pages of tax code in Canada, which is similar in Australia and New Zealand, similar in the UK, and similar in South Africa. So the difference is just the volume of deductions that we're allowed versus other countries, and then the names of our companies are different. But a trust is a trust is a trust all over the world, by the way. And you want to have a trust. You want to have that as the pass-through. Without a trust, and you have just the corporations, the LLCs, or the C Corps and S Corps, you're still going to probate. The trust is what keeps you out of probate. So to have both, without the LLCs, you can't activate the tax code. Without the trust, you go to probate. Right? So you got to have it all, and it's got to be layered properly. So the way we begin is we just have an initial free conversation. We say, what do you want? What do you have right now? I mean, I do a lot of work with student athletes, and we'll be doing more and more as we move into this next decade of my life. And what's interesting is they're on, an NCAA scholarship. Their intent is to probably go to the league, and they have now NIL, right? So they have name, image, and likeness. So even at 18 years old, the money that these athletes can make, and this isn't just talking, even though my son's a football player, this applies to any of the student athletes. I mean, you women golfers out there and women basketball players, you are crushing it if you do it the way that I'm talking about it. But you have to have an LLC to put all that extra money in. Otherwise, you're being taxed at the highest rates. So when people say that they're getting back at, right now, we're filming this around March 2022, it's interesting how many people are so excited about getting a tax return. And my response to them is, why did you overpay in the first place? Why did you should wait. Corporations and trusts, we file tax in September and then personally in October. So April doesn't apply to you if you're in the millionaire strategies that I'm teaching you. So again, let's take a little pause. I want you to be here every day. We have committed to this YouTube channel to be the place to teach financial literacy. We're going to be here 5 days a week. I need you, your friends, your family, your spouse. I have a new client that just came on yesterday. He's in the middle of a messy divorce. I said, next time we'll have you prenup. And then your prenup can also be done through a trust. So there's lots of strategic ways that are totally legal to help you organize and keep not only your wealth safe, but then pass it on to generations the way you want to do it. And those conversations for me are some of the funnest creative ones, is what do you want to do? Now let's put one more big messy piece in here, blended families. Right? I have a blended family. I have 2 kids, 2 different parents. My husband has 2 kids, 2 different moms. It's an interesting batch, right? So they're all going to get the same? No, it's fair is not equal. So we're having those conversations. It depends what they actually contribute. What do they do? What do they want to do? So these are fun conversations. Don't back off from them. Lean into them. And I want to leave you with one horror story before I end. And again, if you forgot to subscribe and hit the notification button, go back and hit the notification, because I'm going to go every morning. I'm going to be with you 10 to 12 minutes. That's all I'm asking for financial literacy, and I want to do it for at least a year and see how I change your life. Now, the story that is the most compelling, he is now a partner of mine, but he came to me, he had a partner in Kansas. They had a flooring company, a construction company, real estate company. I don't know, they had about 5 or 6 companies. And the older gentleman said, I will match your pay. He had a huge job, 6-figure job, and we'll just become partners, 50-50. I'll do the money and you do the work. So away they went for years doing this. Well, one day the gentleman died, and my partner woke up to nothing It all went to the state. So part of it was in Kansas, Missouri. I'm not exactly sure where it was. But he came to me saying, I've lost everything because the paperwork wasn't done. I used to have these cool t-shirts that says, do paperwork or be poor. So the paperwork is critical to the entities. So we had to help him regain entities, buy it back from probate, buy it all structurally back, reset it, and then put it back into trust for now his family and his legacy. So this is serious stuff, folks. I have fun with it. I enjoy it. I want to help you get your family legacy set right and make sure the inheritance is coming to you properly so you aren't taxed at all. With the right trust and banking structure, it just passes through. You go into the ground or cremated or wherever your choices are, and your family just continues to move, and they aren't shut down for a long time. Most deaths shut down a family for 6 months, and I have a client as long as 34 years. They're still trying to untangle. So don't be those people. Be smart. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to go to my financial personality quiz. I want you to take the quiz. It'll put you into one of 4 buckets. That tells us a lot about you. It's a profile. And then it's going to be followed by an application. This application's a little different, so I'll have my team take notes. You're going to be able to check the box to say, I want to talk to somebody in corporate structure, trust structure, and insurance. I don't care where you are in the world. We have these same resources all over the world. I have extraordinary resources in Canada, the UK, Australia, and South Africa. And we'll help you find them if you're in other parts of the world. But click on the link below, go take the quiz, get in the application, have the conversation. All of it's free, no obligation until you say, I'm going for this. I want to live this kind of life. And let us help you be the team to do that. So we'll talk to you tomorrow.